Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Pod Z CCG. This is Brandon.
This is Brad.
So, right down to the business. I was listening to the Commie House podcast.
On SoundCloud now?
Yeah.
Episode 2?
Yep, and guess who they had on there?
Chippy.
Oh, so you listened to it too?
Yeah, I listened to it too.
Yeah, it was funny hearing all the stories about how Sonny Strait,
master of the Destructo disc.
Yep.
And the comb over.
Yeah, that he used to drive the Hummer around. I thought that was pretty funny. So they've got some awesome episodes on there, Dustin and Joe. So go ahead and listen to them. We like it, and it gets our seal of approval.
Yeah, Commie House is the only podcast right now, the only Dragon Ball podcast that gets the Pod Z CCG stamp of approval.
So check it out. Go ahead and like us on Facebook at PodZCCG if you haven't already, and share our post, and you get entered automatically into our next raffle. We have a spreadsheet tallying everyone who's liked us and shared. So past winners include Timothy Cable, George Powers, and JJ Belante, to name a few. So the cards are getting out there. George picked the purple Anger Sword, and JJ picked the Vegeta's Left Blast, I think it was. So check it out.
Oh, and Timothy Cable got the Heroic Assistance.
Yeah, he did.
Confrontation and Namekian Strike promos.
Yeah, he did.
Grand prize wizard right there.
And plus
winner.
Wizard. So we're getting a case of set 3 next week. So look forward to a raffle with some of those exclusive foils. So, listener emails, what do you have?
I have an email from Hector Echeverria. Is that how you say it? You took 1 extra year of Spanish than I did.
What, did you go to Spanish 3?
Yeah.
Hector Echeverria.
There we go. He says, "Yo guys, what's up? I just started listening to your show and I gotta say, you guys really know what you're talking about. I agree with almost anything you say. I wanted to write into the show and ask a few questions. Are you guys planning on going to any regional tournaments? If so, who are you going with? Are you excited for regionals? I know it took a long time for Panini to announce anything related to organized play. Maybe I'll see you at 1 or 2. I'm going to the one in Arizona." So yeah, Brandon and I are really excited to go down to regionals. We're going to go to the one up in Salem, Oregon, and Vacaville, California. Vacaville is only an hour away from us, so we're really excited about that. We're most likely going to go with Jordan and Sam. We invited a few other people from our playtesting group, but they might not be able to go. We also plan to meet up with Dustin from Commie House to do a crossover podcast. That should be fun. We'll meet up with him on Friday to play test and record. It should be lots of fun.
Yeah. So the email I have comes from Justin X Skull X15.
Man, this is his 3rd time writing it. When you told me he wrote in again, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. So check this out. Hello, Internet family.
Is that your Justin voice?
Yep. I am also known as the Ace of Cats. I love cats. My favorite DBZ characters are Korin, Puar, and Grandpa Gohan when he wears a cat mask. Meow. It's cold up here in the Netherlands for wintertime. I drink vodka, I'm thinking it means vodka, to keep my body warm. I like to kiss cats on the noses. They are cute. And that's the end of the email.
I wonder if he was drinking vodka when he wrote this email.
More than likely. First off, this wasn't a question, but that's okay. We like comments.
I just gotta say, first of all, thanks you guys for writing in. These emails that we get are hilarious. Justin, keep writing in. I love your cat emails.
Secondly, I don't think it's wintertime there because I checked the temperature for this time of year for that country when I got this email, and the high is 66 and the low is about 58.
Oh man.
So he must have the AC going, which is causing him to drink and get into his drunken state. So next we've got our Dragon Ball Z question of the week. If you can reprint any card from Square Z, what would it be? Now, did you want to take a stab and guess each other's that you would reprint.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess yours would be Vegeta's Jolting Slash, but minus the Vegeta part.
Oh, that was a good one, but no, I said Majin Buu's Heel Kick.
Oh, remind the audience what that does again.
It's a physical attack for plus 3 or 4 stages. You also gain, I think, 5 stages, and you get to banish 3 or 5 cards from your opponent's discard pile from the game. It's pretty good, but Vegeta's Jolting Slash is actually better. That's an energy attack, and it stops all your opponent's physical attacks for that combat.
Well, it stops physical attacks for villains. Against villains.
Against villains?
Okay. Yeah, so if it's villain against villain, it could hurt you if you're running physical, but just a free Omni block, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, not even an Omni block, multi-block.
Yeah.
What do you think my card reprint would be?
Dragon's Victory.
So obvious. Dragon's Victory, we all know. You can only play this card when you're at 4 anger. You may raise your opponent's anger by 1. If your opponent has 4 anger as well, you win the game. That'll be making an appearance in our next segment, so stick around for more Dragon's Victory talk.
And some other notable cards I know you'd like Piccolo's and Heroes Gather.
Yeah.
Time to Party would be great.
Yo, yeah.
Probably Krillin's Concentration.
Yep.
Basically anything from your Piccolo deck.
Yeah. Which I'll be going over those cards also that you named, so that's good.
I'd like the Blue Style Mastery from Majin Buu Saga reprinted.
Oh, that'd be dirty.
I love that card.
Where you could banish cards in your discard pile. Banish a blue card in your discard pile to prevent 2 life cards of damage.
Yeah.
And that could be used over and over again as long as you have blue cards in your discard pile.
Yep.
That's nuts.
I love that card.
You'd have to take Frieza out of your deck, though.
Yeah, I would. I'd definitely take Frieza out for that. He actually might be coming out with set 3. With the Dragon Ball Z question of the week out of the way, let's get into some preview talk. I'm so looking forward to Blue Observation and Blue Escaping Drill.
Oh, yeah, I bet you are. Especially that observation. Wait. Blue Observation Drill? Where you can't use Endurance?
Yeah.
Why are you looking forward to that?
Because if you get out Blue Escaping Drill, Blue Lifting Drill, Blue Observation Drill, and Blue Position Drill, whenever an attack is blocked, you get a Rejuvenate one.
Yeah. I see.
So it's kind of a crazy combo to get all set up, but with Blue, you could really get set up because all the great blocks they have.
And then there's that blue setup that lets you go up to level 2 and then...
Blue Dominance.
And then put 2 drills from your discard pile in play. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Blue's getting a real nice boost for stasis and the metagame, and with my Ginyu, I think I could fuse it to be an offensive and defensive deck. Now, Red is just getting crazy. They're the new Namekian from Scorzy. They're getting all these crazy combos, all these drills that do crazy things. I'm sure you guys have seen the previews, and I'm sure a lot of you are hyped to play Red Garlic or Red Turles, Red Godku. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I can't wait to test Garlic Red, Garlic Blue, and see which stasis I like better.
Yeah. I think you might want to go more for Blue because Blue has a lot better blocks than Red does. And they do have more endurance and more blocks total, I believe. So Blue Garlic might be the way to go for you.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
I know Jordan's looking forward to play Blue Willow. And as soon as he saw Willow, he was on the Blue Willow bandwagon. It's pretty funny. Speaking of Jordan and Sam, they have a YouTube channel out called Kame Bros. And they're doing a show called Spoiler Season. They only have 2 episodes up with Spoiler Season, so I think they're kind of fading out of that. They tend to jump around things at times. They one day want to do a podcast, one day want to do a video cast, and all this stuff. So what I think we're going to do is take him under our wing, and they're actually going to start recording games on their laptop, and they're going to start uploading them to our YouTube channel, so you guys will be able to see live games of Brandon and I's decks, and Jordan and Sam playing with their decks, Logan possibly, and we might get other people. One day last week I walked in on them recording. They were recording a game. I should have known this because Sky's cat tower was pushed onto the side of the table. Sky is my cat. And their laptop was sitting on the cat tower. I came home from work and said, "Why is Sky's cat tower by the table?" Sam said, "We're recording." Then Jordan said, "Okay guys, we're back." I walked over to the laptop and I peeked my head in the monitor's vision, the webcam's vision. So you saw half my big head and my eye. They laughed and said, "Okay guys, we're back." I was like, "Oh, I thought you guys were recording." Sam bugged his eyes out at me, and Jordan said again, "Okay guys, we're back." Whenever they cut something out of the video, they must say, "Okay guys, we're back." So what I did was I grabbed my cat Sky and put her right on the playmats and in the vision of the camera and said, "Rawr," and trampled her across their game. And they both got annoyed and gave a big sigh. And once I removed Sky, I heard, "Okay guys, we're back." I was like, "Oh, come on, you have to leave that in." Then Jordan started to say, "Okay guys, we're..." And then Sam said, "Dad, stop! It takes me so long to edit this thing. Every time we say, 'Okay guys, we're back,' I have to edit it. It takes so long." And I said, "Come on, it's funny. Just leave it in. It doesn't have to be that professional. It's just you guys playing." And then Sam said, "No!" Then I was like, "Fine," and I left. And I went into my room and I heard Jordan say, "Okay guys, we're back." "Wait, Sam, what are you doing?" Sam said, "I'm quitting." And Jordan said, "Come on Sam, let's just finish the game." I ran into the living room hoping they were still recording, and in my best Jimmy Fallon impression I said, "And we're back." You know, like Man in the Box?
Yeah.
Man in the can, man in the box. So that was pretty funny, but he was already done recording. So we're going to post videos of that up too. So Podsy CCG will be right back with Visiting the Past. Stay tuned.
Okay, guys, we're back.
My story is called Brad Gains Trample for One Turn.
That's a Magic reference.
It is. As we mentioned before, Brandon and I love going to swap meets, yard sales, and thrift stores to find treasure. Most notably, gray gold, which is a term we coined for NES, SNES, Nintendo 64 cartridges because they're gray. We like finding anything we could turn a profit on, but it can't be anything bigger than a DVD case, according to Brandon. Like during treasure hunting for nostalgia, I would bring in these wacky treasure items that I swore was worth money, and it never sold, did it?
Fucking laser discs. Who buys laser discs these days? Especially Truth or Dare, the Madonna laser disc. What else was there? What other laser discs?
Boxing Helena.
Boxing Helena. There was a Star Wars album that had a poster from 1977. That never sold. There was a Rolling Stones album. That never sold. There was a Canadian-French McDonald's toy, a Venezia trophy, a hockey trophy replica. That didn't sell. There was a Metal Gear Solid 4 collector's edition book that hasn't sold yet. So there's just been a ton of wacky items. I did jump on this craze with a Marvin the Martian clock that I found at a Goodwill that was worth like $40, but that never sold. So yeah, go back and listen to it if you want to hear all the treasure we found. We usually do it at the beginning of the podcast. Pretty funny stuff.
So I went to the biggest swap meet in the Sacramento area, Denio's Farmers Market and Auction. This place is so big, it's like 40 acres of yard sales mixed with fresh farmers' produce. Their fruit that you can get there is so good. One Sunday afternoon I decided to go there. Karen and Sam came along. We were going to take Sam out to sushi afterwards. I usually don't expect to find anything to even tip the tromboner scale.
This isn't treasure hunting for nostalgia. Explain a tromboner.
Basically, it's a treasure hunting boner. The scale can be on the low end of 10 which would be a common like Cell Junior's Flight or any sports game made from 1993 to 97. And you go all the way up to a 10, which would be Champion's Drill or Earthbound Complete. Usually the stuff we find at Denials only warrants a 3 to 4 on the tromboner scale, but this would not be one of those times. This time, I was in store for something special. Something that only happens once in a blue moon. So there we were walking down the blissful aisles of Denials, junk everywhere, every vendor proudly displaying their junk. There is always heaps and piles to wade through. If you dig deep enough, you can find something good or catch body lice. It's such a gamble. Whenever Brandon and I walk around Denials, our heart pumps faster, our pulse quickens, and we get an
adrenaline
rush. We have been hunting for about 30 minutes now. We passed some gray gold, old cartridges of Mario and Zelda games with $30 price tags. Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo for $25. Zelda 2 complete in box for $120. Yuck, such outrageous prices. We were on our way out, and we were looking at the junk piles on the way out. I then saw a long, white collector's box that housed cards laying on their side. Not just any cards. Cards with a black back with a white stripe around the edge of the border. I knew it as soon as I saw it. Those had to be a box full of Score Z cards. Something I've never seen at the Goodwill, thrift store, or even Denio's. I rushed for the box in the narrow aisle, fearing that someone else would be wanting to get them before me. I always have that fear that once I find some, even when I go to Dimple, I always felt like I had to rush in there because there was going to be someone getting the games before I got to them. Other treasure hunters. I was running at full speed for that box. I felt something go beneath my feet, but thought nothing of it. I thought, oh, that's just junk. I'll pick up whatever I dropped after I secure my prize. I hurtled over the junk and grabbed the box. Yes! I got the box. And my confirmation was right. It was a box full of Score Z cards. I turned back to Karen to let her know what I had found. Well, remember that junk that tripped me up? It wasn't junk. It was Karen, my wife. Unfortunately for Karen, she was standing in between myself and the box. She told me later that I got this crazed look in my eye and rushed her.
And then you said, those are Dragon Ball cards.
Yeah, I said that out loud. She tried to bear down and brace for impact, but it was no use. She ended up on the ground under the dirty tables. Thankfully, no intense harm came from the trampling, just minor abrasions. I turned to the vendor and asked how much. He said $10. I then put my barter hat on. How about $5? He gave me this disgusted look. He said, fine, pay me and get out of here. I helped Karen up and paid the man. Remember what I got in the box?
It was a bunch of Saiyan Saga cards, right?
Yeah, it was definitely worth the trample. Well, I mean, not for her, but for me it was worth the trample. There was a full set of foil and non-foil Saiyan Saga cards. Not all limited, but every card was there. Only one ultra rare was limited. I think that was Goku's plan, the rest were unlimited. There were complete sets of the level 4 promos, non-foil, silver foil, and gold foil. I was so excited. I still go back to Denials from time to time, but I have never seen that vendor there anymore. Who knows what happened to him?
So the name of my story is His Name Was Daniel. Majin Buu Saga had been released for a couple weeks at this point in time. My Namekian Piccolo deck has evolved from a Dragon Ball Regen deck to a Dragon Victory Regen Dragon Ball deck. I was sweeping the local scene with it. It is very non-combat heavy, and I hardly ever enter combat with it. The only time I actually do enter combat is when I know for sure I'm going to be winning with Dragon's Victory that turn. I was running Piccolo the Trained as my MP. Not only did it shut off personality powers, but it was errated to automatically raise my anger 2 levels when entering combat, because Score thought this power was so good of shutting off personality powers, they didn't want you camping there, so they wanted you to get off level 2, or get off level 1 in a few combats. And it wasn't uncommon for me to use 3 Dragon's Victories in a single combat to win the game. there was so much comboing I could do with this deck. Key cards include Champion's Belt or Piccolo's Determination. Champion's Belt states you could only use this card if you've used another non-combat card this turn. Raise your anger 1 level, gain 4 power stages, draw a card. Piccolo's Determination was just raise your anger 1 level, draw a card. Piccolo and Heroes Gather. Discard 2 cards from your hand to grab 2 combat cards or event cards now and put them into your hand. Krillin's Concentration was a non-combat that let you get a combat/event card from your deck. Fatherly Advice lets you get a physical combat, energy combat, or combat event card from your discard pile or life deck. Frieza Smiles. This card must be the first card you play during combat from your hand. Stop all physical attacks or stop all energy attacks. Time is a Warrior's Tool. Time to Party. It's a non-combat. Everybody raises their main personality to the highest stage. Everybody gains 1 anger. Everybody searches their life deck for a freestyle drill and place it into play. I use Namekian balls for control. With this deck, I usually went undefeated. Maybe I'd lose once in Swiss, but that was about it. So I would hardly ever have to play the randoms, zippies, or tinnies, since they usually went 1-3, 1-4.
Yeah, the random zippies and tinnies were low-level players who'd bring their decks in tins or Ziploc baggies.
Yeah, and the randoms, we really didn't know their names because they just like float in and out. If I did play them, it was usually first round. I guess I must have made quite an impression on the youngest mouth breather I've ever come across. His name was Daniel. The way this kid left the house reflected how little he cared about others perceiving him. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't care what people think about me when I go out, but to an extent. Now that I'm married, I have to somewhat care about my appearance when I go out with her. I mean, when I go out of the house for recreational purposes, it's usually basketball shorts, pajama pants, stuff that's comfortable. Sometimes I'll dress up into slacks or some sweet denim shorts, like if I'm feeling sexy.
Or when you go to a big Dragon Ball tournament like in Vacaville, we both dressed up there and wore slacks and a nice shirt.
Yeah. But this kid, Daniel, he was a little pudgy and he had this crazy curly hair. You know what? It might not have been curly, just untamed. It stood up like Kramer's on Seinfeld. Anyways, I remember beating him a few times with Dragon's Victory in previous tournaments. Like I said, usually round 1 or 2. And it came to a surprise during this particular tournament that I was playing him in round 3. So we were both 2-0. He had this crazy look in his eye as we shuffled our decks. He was playing orange. I think he was playing orange. But I can't remember the MP. Do you remember his MP?
I think it was Orange Tien or something from Cell Saga. Something random like that.
Anyways, I was pretty set up about midway through the game. I had everything I needed for a Dragon's Victory. I was at 0 anger in combat, and he was already at 3 anger. He just started giggling. He said, "What's your anger at?" I said, 0, and I showed him my anger sword. I used Time to Party to gain our anger. He laughed a little bit more, and then he said, "What's your anger at now?" I said, 1. So he passed. I then played Champion Belt to raise my anger and draw a card. He said, "What's your anger at?" I said, 2. He then passed. I played Vegeta's Plan, which lets you search for a Dragon Ball, and I grabbed Namek Ball 5. This lets you raise your anger, power up to full, and rejuvenate 2 cards. He said, "What's your anger at?" I said, before I could say 3, he yelled, "Dragon's Victory!" all Joey Wheeler-like. I said, "Okay, you have to raise my anger to 4, right?" He said, "Yep," and did. I then said, "Where there's life, there's hope," and I played that I already had it out. Where there's life, there's hope prevents victory until the beginning of your next turn.
Such a good card.
Yeah. And then, so I said, where there's life, there's hope. Dragon's victory. I had one in my hand, of course. I also had a sphere just in case. And he was crushed. He ended up top cutting with that deck, which was cool. But I never played him again, nor ever seen him again. Makes me wonder, like, what happened to Daniel?
Maybe he committed suicide. I really hope you're proud of yourself, making young kids off themselves. I bet he went home and cosmic backlashed himself.
That's very doubtful. So, don't go away. Pod ZCCG will be right back with some tournament reports. So, stay tuned.
Welcome back to Pod ZCCG. Now, usually when we do tournament report, you'd be hearing you're the best around from the Karate Kid. But this tournament is nothing to write home about, so I'm just going to lump it into rolling questions. So we won't be taking a break after the tournament report. We'll move right into rolling questions because this tournament was horrible.
Yeah, seriously, I didn't want to write anything about this tournament report. Adventures in Comics and Games, June 22nd. What did we have? We had Your Blue Ginyu, My Black Krillin, Scott's Orange Goku, Dylan's, Saiyan Vegeta? Black Vegeta? What did Dylan have? Black Vegeta?
Black Vegeta. Jordan had Black Ginyu. Sam had Blue Piccolo.
Kelly had Black Ginyu.
And Nick had
Black Raditz.
Black Raditz.
So round one, it was me and Brad. Whenever Brad and I go against each other first round, one of us is going to have a very bad time for the rest of the night. This time, it was me. I was able to Black Scout maneuver all three of his neck beams, but Frieza kept my discard pile in check, and with a few life cards left for each of us, I confrontationed him and saw a Draining Blast, and like 2 other energy attacks. I scooped because I had no blocks. No way I was going to survive that one.
Yeah, and I remember when I lost first round a few tournaments ago. Actually, it was when the game first came out. It was like I couldn't recover. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I just couldn't recover. Even playing Monster Bill, I scooped a Monster Bill. I just had a bad time.
Round 2 is against Scott's Orange Goku. Like Brad was saying, we have a thing about losing in round 1. We tend not to play our maximum potential. This happened again. Scott was able to mill me to death with his orange destructions. He hit out 12 drills and hit me with them twice. I had a Black Scout maneuver at one point late in the game, but decided to ditch it for my mastery. I really should have got rid of his orange destructions, but I wasn't thinking right. Round 3 was against Nick's Black Raditz. I was able to win. And that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah. So round 1, I went against Brandon and won. Pretty cool. Round 2, Sam's Blue Piccolo ball deck. I didn't see this coming. I was able to crit one of his Dragon Balls with Blue Fear. This kid runs so much endurance and so many blocks, it's next to impossible to crit him with damage. He was driving me nuts with getting all his Dragon Balls out and me not being able to capture them. He never did reach level 2 for Piccolo, but he ended up getting all 7 Dragon Balls out and winning the game. Like, in one turn, he put the last 3 balls down, and I was like, are you serious? It was just, I couldn't believe it. Round 3, I went against Jordan's Black Ginyu. I really wish I won the match against Sam, because then I would have a final showdown with Kelly, which would have been awesome. But he was facing Sam, and he would pull the win. The matchup against Black Ginyu was so one-sided. I felt so bad for Jordan. I killed him instantly. First place went to Kelly, second place to Sam, third to Scott, and fourth to me. Now's the time for our new segment, Rolling Questions. I'm going to lighten up the mood here, get out of this downer spiral. This email comes from Michael King. Hey guys, I just got done listening to episode 11, Flirting with Disaster. I was really laughing out loud at my desk during the whole Dragon Ball Radio email. If they really did compose the email, that's pretty sad. It reminds me of what the big corporation guys trying to drown out the mom and pop shops out of business. I am convinced that it was a random troll. I wanted to be the first to contribute to the rolling question segment, so I have a few scenarios for you. I could read the questions and you could answer them.
Okay.
Question 1. Can Piccolo's Special Beam Cannon name non-attack cards like allies?
Yes, Piccolo's Special Beam Cannon could name any 2 cards that are not Dragon Balls.
Nice. Question 2. What happens if someone uses Black Reflection to name Crushing Beam? Does his opponent get to shuffle it back into his life deck?
It's funny because this came up on Top Tier a few days ago. It might have been the same person asking. But let's say I use Black Reflection on your Crushing Beam. I play the card, and then it plays out. It would get shuffled back into your life deck.
Question 3. Dr. Wheelo's first power states, set your anger at 3. Does that mean if you are above 3 anger, you lower it back down to 3 anger?
Yes, it works like the empowered flying kick or whatever that sets your anger to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless, if you're at 4 anger, 5 anger, because you're facing a blue mastery, you're setting it back to 3.
Question 4. I have a friend who loves to win by Dragon Ball. Let's say he has 1 life card left in his deck. He plays his last Dragon Ball, which happens to be Dragon Ball 3. Does he draw out and lose, or win by Dragon Ball victory?
The rulebook states that as soon as you control all 7 Dragon Balls, you win the game, so you would not have to use the immediate effect of that Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So you could throw down 3 as the last ball and win.
Just like Exodia.
Yep.
Question 5. Can I have an ally pay for stages for Orange Uppercut?
Yes, because it does not say your main personality must pay the stages. It says pay X amount of stages to search for an energy combat card.
Yeah. Also, what are your thoughts on a Black Piccolo deck? I was thinking about building one.
I actually built a Black Piccolo deck when I was testing my Blue Piccolo deck, and it's good, but Blue, I think, has more. If you're going for Dragon Ball, I think Blue has the edge because it's got Blue Trick to deal with those pesky Namekian decks. But Black is good if you want to try like a beatdown type deck, I guess. But I'm not the greatest beatdown builder for decks. My mind works for stasis. So in terms of stasis, I would go Blue instead of Black. But what about you? What do you think about it?
It could be cool. Definitely the whole level 2 power of Piccolo would be awesome in a Black deck because there's a lot of combos where you discard cards from your hand that are Black cards that get effects. So you could spam his level 2 and get greater effects. I know Blue Piccolo has that Blue Guard where if you discard a card you could banish it, then draw 2 cards with Piccolo's power. But Black could be nice, but I still prefer Blue over Black.
Alright, so I guess that'll do it for episode 12 of Pod Z CCG. So until next time, keep rocking the dragon.